It is my distinct pleasure today to introduce to you George Ruiz. He is the CEO and founder of Intelligent Arts and Artists in Los Angeles, California. He's worked the past 25 years in Hollywood as an attorney, as a business affairs manager, and as an agent. He has a font of knowledge about where the business of entertainment has been and where it is going over the next decades. The business of entertainment has changed a lot from the studio systems in the 30s and 40s. That passed on to with the advent of broadcast television and how media changed and how we consumed entertainment changed a great deal. We saw that change again as cable television engulfed broadcast television. Well, now we have the internet, and it is changing how Hollywood does business. It is making new stars. It is creating large new revenue streams. You've probably not heard of stars on YouTube or on Vine, but your kids have. That's what they're doing when they're staring at their phone all the time. They're taking in entertainment in a way that we never did at that age, but you very well may be in the future. So a little on George's background. He's a graduate of the UCLA School of Law, where he and I were both roommates and moot court partners. He set off after graduation into Hollywood, where he worked in the studio system, first for Disney and then for Paramount Pictures. I call this his blockbuster phase because he worked on the Star Trek and Mission Impossible series of movies, worked on Forrest Gump, a number of other things. He then moved into the talent side of the business and worked for International Creative Management, where he did negotiated deals and headed their division on new media. We can call that what would we call that? The action hero phase. He worked with Charlton Heston, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme. And then just 3 years ago, he started his own business, Creative Arts and Artists. And he's moving into the entrepreneurial phase where he's working to create content, to connect talent with distribution centers, and to make that new media. So please join with me in a hearty Rotary welcome for George Ruiz.
Hi, everyone. First of all, it's a great honor to be speaking here today, addressing all of you, and thank you, Paul. Paul and I did spend some time together in law school, both as roommates and as moot court partners, and there's a memorable trip to Mexico we all took with Anne Marie that you can all bribe me for later, and I can tell you some of the details about that. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening in Hollywood and how technology is having an impact on that business. It used to be not that long ago that if you wanted to watch a movie or basically consume entertainment in some sort of way, you either had to go somewhere or you had to get something, right? You had to go to the theater, or you had to, basically go to the video store. Remember the video store? And they're gone. And then get something physical, so you could consume this media in some sort of way. Well, that's all gone now. These days, you basically, if you wanted to watch something, you can pick up your phone and you can watch something on Netflix or HBO Go or Amazon Prime or whatever it is. Things are changing rapidly in Hollywood, and Hollywood is faced with a challenge as its revenue streams are being challenged as audience behavior is changing. Okay, the one thing we have to remember is that Hollywood and every other big business is fairly reactive to what happens. What is happening now really is young people adapting technology into their lives in a way that is really changing the face of the way Hollywood presents its media and then monetizes it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. When I present this material, I tend to get caught up in jargon. I've been in the entertainment business over 25 years. So if at any point I say something that sounds really confusing, or there's a piece of jargon that you just please raise your hand, let me know, and I'll ask the questions. We will have time for questions at the end. But as I said, this is a jargon-filled business, and sometimes I forget that. So, so let's get started. Okay, so basically, first slide. Digital technology has changed the way that Hollywood is making movies. Before, you used to have to shoot film, cut film, edit film, and that process involved chemical companies and film and all these things. That's all gone now. Everything is shot digital. Everything is stored on a hard drive. All the editing that takes place now takes place on a computer, and things happen much faster. And of course, now that leads to also the kind of visual effects that we had never ever seen before. So the movies have gotten faster. The movies have gotten bigger. but also the movies have gotten more expensive, at least the Hollywood ones. But there's also, it allows people who didn't have traditional access to those filmmaking tools to now get in with something as simple as an iPhone and the free suite of services and software that Apple provides. So production techniques have both gotten more complex and also cheaper at the same time because of digital technology. Let's stay back. So also, distribution platforms have radically changed. When was the last time, okay, great, show of hands, did anyone go to the movies last weekend? One person. Two people, okay? Two people went to go see movies. Now, I don't know whether Columbus is a movie-going town, but I think that represents something different. Now, how many people watch something on either Netflix, HBO Go, or Amazon Prime? Right? Everything is changing. The distribution platforms are changing. Audiences are now used to convenience, the convenience of just going on your television sets, your smart TVs or your computers, and having this vast array of choices for the kind of content that's available there and immediately available for you to watch. And that's radical, and that is challenging Hollywood. The weekend box office still is a big deal. Movies like, Avatar, which made $2 billion, and The Force Awakens last year, which made almost $1 billion in the domestic market, still are bringing them in. Civil War, the new Marvel movie, has gotten like $300 to $400 million in just the domestic gross. People are still going to the movies. It's a very social event. We get a certain experience by watching a movie on a giant screen with other people. There's something communal and wonderful, and I hope that never changes. But for the majority of people, the cost associated with going to a movie as often as they did makes it somewhat prohibitive. Movie prices are up. You have to find parking. You have to get in your car. You have to go somewhere, maybe dinner. We're talking about at least $100 that evening. Or you can stay at home and turn on Netflix, and for $9.99 a month, you get everything Netflix offers. Both original programming, which is compellingly now the reason why we really subscribe to services like Netflix, or some of the other older movies and TV shows that they have on there. So distribution has now changed significantly. Marketing has now changed significantly. The biggest spend that Hollywood does every year outside of actually producing movies is to advertise those movies. And where do you think they spend that money primarily on? Television. Television is primarily Thursday nights is the time that the networks charge the most, and that's where the studios all spend their money. That's when you're going to see all those new trailers for all those upcoming movies that are typically on network shows at Thursday night. Well, the audience is shifting to watching more online video, so the dollars there are shifting to reach those online audiences, the people who are making the decisions to actually go to movies, and they tend to be younger folks who are online a lot more. So marketing is changing. So production techniques, distribution, and marketing have all now been radically impacted by the advent of digital technology into this business. Okay, next slide. I want to explain a few terms because we might talk about them. OTT, over the top. So those are platforms where media is delivered using internet packets, using data. All right. Before, we could get, set up an antenna and we'd receive a stream from the general frequency that's out there into our television sets, or we would subscribe to cable or satellite service to have the media directly piped into our homes. But now you can basically have an online connection, an internet connection, and that alone can get you the kind of media through an over-the-top network. It's a network that basically is just riding on existing internet connections to your home to provide you with digital content, films, music, whatever, short-form videos like YouTube. All right, so there's different types of over-the-top providers. We have SVOD. SVOD are subscription-based services like Netflix, HBO Go, and Hulu. All right, so you pay a monthly price, and you get the content that's offered there. That's SVOD. AVOD, free and ad-supported services like Sony's Crackle and Hulu. Hulu has both a subscription service and a free service, but you have to watch ads. You can watch their programming, but every once in a while you run into ads. And a lot of the AVOD there is really there to sort of move you into the SVOD, But those services are there. The other classic one that is AVOD is also YouTube, right? So you watch videos, and increasingly you run into an ad at the beginning, and it's like, when skip ad, hurry up, get to the skip ad part, right? But you have to watch an ad. That is paying for all the content and data that Google is basically aggregating on its YouTube service. And then there's TVOD, transactional services. That's where you pay for the content you want. iTunes, Vimeo, Amazon Instant, and different cable providers basically say, oh, you want to watch a movie? It's available to you. It's $4.99 to rent. Or if you want to own it, it's $19.99. That's TVOD. All right. There's some new OTTs, new platforms that are emerging, that are brand new companies or newer companies that are providing media that you haven't heard about yet or you will be hearing about soon. One of them is YouTube Red. It's a subscription-based service that YouTube is offering. YouTube has now said, look, ads are annoying. We get it. We want to provide you with an ad-free experience. We want to provide you with exclusive content you're only going to get here. Pay us whatever. I think the price is $12.99 a month, and we'll get rid of all of those ads for you. You can enjoy YouTube ad-free. And Fullscreen is a multi-channel network. I'll get into what that means in a second. It's a multi-channel network that is also providing brand new exclusive content for a monthly subscription. Okay, I have a question for you guys. Next one. Okay. You go to Costco every month and you buy $200 worth of food. And at the end of the month, you throw away $180 worth of food. And then the following month, you go back to Costco and you buy another $200 worth of food. And then you eat $20 of it and you throw away $180 worth of food. Well, if you're subscribing to cable or satellite, that's kind of what you're doing, right? Because I recently became a cord cutter, somebody who decided to rely only on data services from the major providers, mine is Time Warner, and pick what I wanted to watch. I realized that 90% of my viewing habits were watching Netflix and HBO, some AMC, and some new stuff. And I realized I'm paying close to $200 a month to Time Warner Cable, and I'm not watching 90% of what they're offering me. It's just not relevant to my life. Why am I wasting this money? So I scaled back by the way, you can negotiate your cable prices, by the way. You can call them up every 6 months and tell them you want to pay less, and they'll go, okay. We realize we're probably charging you too much. And you can do it, and they will do it for you. But I wanted to make a more effective change, and so I cut out all of the media they were providing me, and I just went data only. I became a quote-unquote a cord cutter, and I decided that, in a second I'll show you how, I decided that I wanted to pick the media I consumed, and my viewing habits haven't changed, except that instead of paying $189 a month, I'm paying $64.99 a month for much faster internet service. Okay, so why are you wasting money on cable and satellite when most of what's on there you're probably not watching? Well, let's figure out. Here are the reasons why people say they do. Actually, let's go to the next slide. Interesting note, 20% of Americans by 2018 aren't going to be subscribing to cable and satellite services, right? They're still going to be watching content, they're still going to be watching television, they're still going to be watching movies, but they just won't be doing it in the traditional way. Okay, so why would you keep cable and satellite? Well, here are the reasons people tend to give. Sports. How am I going to watch my sports? I'm going to watch my game. I got to watch my game every week, every day if possible, right? My favorite show. I have to watch my favorite show. If it's on AMC, Better Call Saul. I got to be able to talk about it on Monday, at the water cooler. Next, car chases, live news. Things that are happening, you can't, internet doesn't provide me with the car chase channel. Oh, that's a good idea. That might be an idea. But breaking news, breaking events, you got to have CNN, MSNBC, Fox News there to provide that information for you. So that's another reason why people feel like they need to keep their cable and satellite service. Well, there are alternatives. All right. First of all, get yourself an antenna. You go to Amazon, get yourself a $30, $40 antenna, and that brings in ABC, NBC, CBS right away. They're still providing over-the-air signals in HD, and they'll look great, and that's one thing I did, okay? And you can subscribe to all of these other services to get your favorite TV shows. Amazon Prime, HBO Go for $14.99, Hulu, Netflix. All that content is there on a subscription-based service. It's somewhere in the area of around $9.99 a month for all those services, and that's where your TV shows go. Let's go to the next one. These are all the different organizations that provide on-demand sports services. So if you watch football, baseball, or basketball, or Major League Soccer, or even any other sports, one of these companies will probably provide you with the sports you love to watch on a basis that's even broader than what your cable company is currently providing you now. All right, Sling TV is sort of a catch-all. They have deals with a lot of cable channels, and so you can subscribe to Sling TV and get a whole bunch of different sports services there. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, so let's talk about the new economy that's happening in Hollywood, and it comes down to YouTube. YouTube is a company that a few years ago, actually about 10 years ago, Google bought for $1.65 billion. Okay. The year before, Paramount had bought DreamWorks for $1.6 billion. So you're thinking, why is the valuation of a company like DreamWorks, which had movies like Saving Private Ryan and Prince of Egypt and Schindler's List, equal to a company that offered dancing cats? And the reason was audience. The audience that was on YouTube was big and getting bigger and faster, and people's sort of behavior was changing. And Google, seeing the trend, bought into this company. And now Google is making billions of dollars in advertising revenue, billions of dollars every year from the ads that are run in front of the YouTube videos. So typically smart, typically Google. All right? The content creators are incentivized to create popular content on YouTube because of these numbers. What we have here, 55-45. When you create a video on YouTube, you get to keep 55% of the revenue that YouTube collects when someone views that content. All right? 45% of it goes into YouTube's pocket, but you keep the majority, 55%. The value that is ascribed to that view is generally $2 for a CPM, a $2 CPM. That means for every 1,000, CPM means costs per 1,000. For every 1,000 views, $2 gets generated. Using that formula, the content creator gets $1.10, 55% of that $2, and the rest of it goes to YouTube. All right, now, for 1,000 views, you get $1.10. That doesn't seem like very much. But there's a new wave of content creators. There's a bunch of people now who have figured out how to create content that generates millions, if not billions, of views every year. And if you do the math, eventually that starts to add up in incredibly significant ways. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, so let's take a look at the top. This is what Forbes said in 2015. These are the top 10 earners on YouTube. Are your businesses currently earning these amounts every year? Because these people, who are all pretty much under 30, this is what they earned 1 year, according to Forbes. There's some controversy about whether these numbers are accurate, but Forbes, talked to accountants, lawyers, agents, and a bunch of people in the ad business, and this is what they sort of figured out. PewDiePie, a young gentleman who basically plays video games and films himself playing video games and screaming and getting scared and having fun while playing video games, is the largest subscriber on YouTube with over 80 million subscribers. And he generates hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of views every month. So he's able to generate significant revenue just from the views, but of course, now he's a star. So we have merchandising deals, we have publishing deals, we have personal appearance deals. He does some music, so we have some music deals. He's down doing some traditional TV stuff and looking at film deals. He's making money from a number of different sources, but it all adds up to a guy who posts one video a week playing video games, and he earns $12 million a year doing that, okay? Everything is different. Everything is changing, and these young people are benefiting from it because they're using these new tools to do that. All right, so Smosh is a comedy duo. They've been online for a good 10 years, and they're hilarious. The Fine Brothers do a series called, high schoolers react and elders react, and they show them other YouTube videos, and then when they react, they capture those reactions, and that is funny, and so that generates a lot of views. Lindsay Sterling is a violinist, and she does these remarkably inspiring violin performances, and she's wonderful, and now she has an international tour, and now she's got big music agents, and she's putting out albums, and it all started with her performing violin performances on YouTube. Rhett and Link are a couple of comedians. KSI also does video game commentary. Michelle Phan, I'm going to show you a video of her in a second. She does makeup tutorials, how to get that smoky eye look, right? But people love her because she talks about how to achieve certain looks, and she makes it seem very easy, and she's incredibly relatable. And I think that's the word that a lot of these new YouTube stars have going for them. They're very relatable to their audiences. Lily Singh is a musician, and Rosanna Pansino does cooking tutorials. All right, so what does this look like? All right, I'll show you. I can't show you PewDiePie because he drops F-bombs every 5 seconds. And I just didn't feel that was appropriate. So let's go to the next, and we'll show you Michelle Phan. Let's see a few seconds of that. Oh, it's an ad. Great. All right, we're making Michelle some money right now. This is an ad that runs in front of her video. And we don't really have an option here. Uh-oh. Yeah. Oh boy. It's for a mattress. Yep.
What's up, Majestic Human? I always believed how a new year is kind of like a blank canvas. And I like to celebrate this idea by enhancing my favorite features with a clean and fresh beauty look. Anyone of all ages can wear this look. Let's begin with a clean canvas. Before I attack my face with makeup, I always like to start with a clean face. To remove makeup residue, use a makeup wipe to reveal a squeaky clean surface. If you prefer using a non-oil-based makeup remover, Chlorine makes one that's enriched with cornflower extract. I know not everyone has 5 minutes to spare.
So Michelle is presenting a particular look, telling you how to achieve it. People have, who are looking to, on Friday night, I want to look a certain way. They can go to Michelle Phan's video, and she probably has a tutorial on how to do that quickly. She's smart. There's product integration built into all her videos now, and companies are paying significant money to be featured on Michelle's videos. It's another way of increasing your revenue stream. All right, she represents this new generation of YouTube star that is very tuned into their audience, knows audience behavior very well, is very relatable, and used inexpensive tools to build that community of followers around them. So let's talk a little bit about the trends that we're seeing in Hollywood, just sort of generally. One, studies are just showing every year, audiences are watching less traditional television, and people are watching more online video. I mentioned some of these OTTs. Some of these OTTs are now presenting exclusive content that you only can get by subscribing to their digital media platform, to their OTT. Anyone has watched House of Cards? Okay, House of Cards, for example, is an example of premium content that Netflix offers, right? They're not a traditional network. They're not a studio. They were a company that provided DVDs in the mail, and now they've become a major force of production through a digital audience. Ad revenue is shifting from TV to digital video, and it's almost at $5 billion this year, is what it's going to get to. But don't worry, TV business, you're still making $71 billion, right? More of that money is starting to shift to online, and in fact, there was a study I saw that said that by 2019, there may be a point where they're going to start to equal each other, if not having online revenue actually exceed television revenue, which would be a huge shift in the industry. But the money goes where the audience goes, and the audience is going online more and more and more. Video views are increasing on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. YouTube is the big dog here, but still there are new platforms, newish platforms that are also providing video distribution, Facebook being the most aggressive about it. And more people are watching video on those platforms. It could be short form video like Instagram, which are about 15 seconds long, or it could be a whole video that Facebook presents. And people share that video easily because of the social media aspect of those particular platforms. Finally, there are new tools that are emerging. There's always innovation. There's always changes. There's always evolution happening with technology in the media business. And right now, we're seeing a shift to the exploration of new narratives and new storytelling techniques using these new technologies. You're going to see more narrative experiences, more filmic experiences happening through apps on your Android and iPhone. You're going to be seeing more content that is created specifically for mobile devices like your iPhones and iPads. And right now, everyone is talking about, in Hollywood, is talking about VR, virtual reality, actually placing big glasses over your head and then getting lost in an incredibly immersive experience that you can only sort of get when you do that. It's different from watching a movie. It's different from playing a video game. It combines elements of all of those things, but you get lost in the experience. And right now, it's expensive, and right now, it's annoying, and you have to wear this big thing. You have to be connected to a computer with a cable, but it's happening. And big companies like Microsoft, through its HoloLens program, and Google, through its Cardboard program, are investing heavily in VR experiences. And content creators are thinking about new narratives in new ways to tell narratives in using those new devices. Okay, so what can you do? Do you have a business? Do you maybe want to get in on some of this? Well, YouTube and Facebook do provide some resources for you. If you Google YouTube's Creator Playbook for Brands, it's a great resource that allows you to it gives you tips, having learned from the last 10 years, of what content works for a brand online. You can start a YouTube channel today. You can film something with your iPhone about your business today and put it up on YouTube today. But you probably want to read something like this just so you get a general sense of how to do it better, right? Facebook has an agency called Anthology that will walk you through. If you want a more traditional, let us help you build your business with professionals, this is Facebook. We're going to tell you, we're going to walk you through this. You can contact the folks at Anthology, and they will walk you through a business plan that helps you get your video in front of Facebook audiences. So those are some of the resources you may want to look at in terms of growing your business and trying to reach your audience, especially if that audience is young. And who should you hire to lead some of these efforts? Probably hire a millennial. They're there, they're experiencing this all the time. They kind of know what's cool and what's not. So that's it. That's my general overview of what's going on in digital in Hollywood right now. Hopefully it's been helpful. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them at this time. Yes?
In YouTube, is the content creator selling the ad, or is YouTube selling the ad, or a combination of both?
Primarily, it's YouTube. YouTube and Google have an excellent sales team that is selling to all the Fortune 500 companies as well as smaller companies, and then partnering them up with content that is a good fit for the demographic they want to reach. That being said, however, like Michelle Phan and like a lot of other people, YouTube content creators don't necessarily want to give 45% of any revenues right to YouTube. So things like product integration and sponsorship are something that the content creator will seek out on their own. And increasingly, that means hiring sophisticated representation, major Hollywood agencies, major talent management companies, and lawyers to come and negotiate those deals. I have a lot of clients on YouTube, and so I recently has made deals with Under Armour, with Carhartt, and funnily enough, with DAP, the caulking and adhesive company. Guess what? They want to reach people who are doing DIY and home repair projects, and there's a client of mine does that. He's a young builder, and so we're doing a deal with DAP right now to help them sponsor the content to get in front of audiences. Yes?
One of those weird people who has no cable and never has had. Is there anything new in the world of antenna?
Yeah. Well, you're a cord never, okay? That's different from a cord cutter. You're a cord never. Yeah, and by the way, you have what you have in common is that all the people who are in their teens and their early 20s are also cord nevers. They never will subscribe to cable or satellite. So yes, all the basically now you buy an HD ready antenna. So all the on-the-air programming is now provided for you in high definition. So if you haven't bought an antenna in a while, now may be a good time because you're going to find the quality of the signal to be magnitudes over what it was before.
Is there brand names that you could mention?
There's a company called Leaf that I believe has a very popular antenna on Amazon. If you just go to the most popular sort of HD antennas, and you'll see Amazon has a great list. And on Amazon Prime, it arrives the next day. You can set it up literally in 30 minutes, and you're watching free TV. Yes?
Well, I've always wondered why the smart TV gets the reception through the Wi-Fi and not the coaxial cable that comes into the house and goes into the Roadrunner.
Because the content that the smart TV is reaching for is not content that is necessarily available on the cable service. Netflix provides an app on most devices like smart TVs and gaming consoles because they wanted to be ubiquitous and they did not want to rely on negotiating a licensing deal with a cable or satellite provider. They wanted to be available wherever data was available, and that meant through Wi-Fi or connected internet connections. And that's why. This is just sort of hey, we've decided to sidestep the offerings of this cable company and make ourselves available and not be subject to a licensing agreement with a Time Warner or Comcast, but just be everywhere people have access to data, have access to Wi-Fi. And for Netflix, it's absolutely worked out. It worked out well. Yes.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about how the analytics are part of all this that these companies are doing? I know that's a big piece of what they're gathering in Google, the analytics.
Very much so. You've got as a content creator, you have a dashboard for your channel, which basically tells you how many views you're getting daily, exactly where the views are coming from all over the world, demographic information like men versus women, age, location. It gets very granular as you delve into it, and you get a monthly report as well as a sort of a 24/7 sort of access to what's going on. There are also third-party services like VidStatsX that will analyze particular channels and provide some of that information for people who aren't necessarily the owners of the channel. So yeah, and you take this information and you use it to look at what's working for your channel and what isn't working, and hopefully adjust. You can learn from the demographics and the views. Did this particular video work or not? Did I get responses? Did I get engagement? Did I get comments? Did I get likes? Did I get shares? That's something you can do, and those analytics will help you that. But you can also take that information when you talk to a brand, to a sponsor, and say, look, my channel's been growing, and every week I've been adding 1,200 new subscribers. Now's the time to get in and lock in a long-term contract before I grow too big and too expensive for you, right?
Is that how those individuals were able to get the advertising ahead of time to explode?
Advertisers want to go after big audiences and particular demographics, right? So if I start a channel today, and no one's going to watch it because I'm not going to have many subscribers to it, right? But somebody who has 1 million subscribers on YouTube, there's a number of advertisers who will probably want to talk to that person about getting their product or service in front of their eyeballs. And so there's a little of the chicken and the egg. You have to work at it for a while and bootstrap yourself to build your channel and your community and your subscriber base and your viewer base, and then you can take that information and go sell to advertisers. That being said, there was a company called Maker that consisted of about 14 popular YouTubers who decided to combine their forces and their views and say, we are an entity. We're a multi-channel network. Individually, we each have about 1 million subscribers. Together, we have 14, 15 million subscribers. Hey, advertising world, do you want access to 15 million people watching our videos all the time? Well, that's going to cost you more than any one of us could have individually have negotiated for. Now you're getting a network. That company, which was started 8 years ago, sold to Disney for a reported $1 billion. Okay, half of it in equity and half of it apparently in cash. By the way, that company was losing money that company in providing all this information and growing this giant sort of hundreds of employees now working for what became Maker Studios, you know, had a very high valuation because, you know, capital came in, venture capital came in and supported the growth. But the economics were such that it was not making the kind of ad revenue to sustain the kind of growth that it had put on itself. But Disney comes in, and they're really good about monetizing audiences, right? They know how to sell films and TV shows and Disney products and kids shows and all that stuff. So give us an audience of people ready to watch stuff and they're passionate about it. We're Disney. We have a lot of MBAs and JDs that can figure this out. So Maker is now part of Disney, and so you're going to see a lot more stuff about Marvel and about, you know, the latest Disney movie on the Maker channels. And that's how it worked. But it was started by kind of like 14 kids. Yeah. Yes.
Every once in a while you'll see on TV 4, 6, 10, 28, call your congressman, they're going to take away our free TV. This happens, seems like, every few years. Is that any truth to that? The people that are becoming cord cutters, do they have to worry at some point that their HTV channel 4, 6, 10, 28 is going to go away?
No, I don't think so. I think the FCC is always going to mandate over the air. I mean, airwaves are a public resource, and people have to be provided with access, especially at times of emergency, with access to those airwaves. And so as long as the FCC is around, no, I mean, broadcasters will be mandated to continue to provide their signals over the air. There's something called net neutrality that you may have or may not have heard about, where basically all of the companies that are now sort of being threatened, the Time Warners and the satellite companies and the telephone companies who provide this data, want to sell tiered packages to consumers to say, hey, we're tired. It is not a good business model for us to provide just open data service and you can subscribe to whatever you want because we don't get a cut of that. So what if we devised a business plan where we provided tiered access to the internet, where if you wanted access to CNN.com and NewYorkTimes.com and Wikipedia.com, it cost you this much. Oh, you want more access to more sites? Well, pay a little more. I don't think that's a great world. I think it's a terrible world where you have to pay for access to all of these resources, which we now rely upon. But net neutrality proponents say that we want to be able to charge more for premium packets of information, where some data is valued by these companies, Time Warner and DirecTV and all of these telco companies, at a higher price than other data packets. So we'll push the video content that these expensive packages, you know, we'll push them in priority, and then we'll slow down the information that people want to do when they want to research, you know, local issues of concern on Wikipedia or their local congressional website, because they're not important enough. We want to prioritize certain data and not prioritize certain data, and let the consumers decide. But really, this is me being a little political. Net neutrality, I think, provides us all with the content on an equal basis, and the telcos want to shift that around to be able to charge more for stuff like that Disney or a film studio might provide. And I don't think that's fair. Yes?
Tom Wheeler, who was raised locally, the FCC chairman, just recently here said what you just said about the continuing accountability.
Well, there are much smarter people who have looked at this issue, and I'm just taking their guidance. Yeah.
Thank you again. Be a Rotarian all week long.